Hello and welcome to this live. So every now and again, I do short videos about subject around emotions and how we can leverage them to our advantage. And today we're looking at how to deal with overwhelming fear. How to deal with overwhelming fear. Fear is a common phenomenon that is natural to humans. I think that's the first thing we need to understand. Before I go on, my name is John Asiegbu. I am Africa's leading emotional intelligence expert. I help individuals, groups, families, and organizations to leverage the power of emotional intelligence to maximize potential and reach peak performance. And so, like I said earlier, we are going to be looking at how to deal with overwhelming fear. Fear is part of human existence. It is an embedded ability in us that is necessary for us to survive. So fear is not an enemy. I like to say fear is actually useful depending on how we understand, how we perceive, and how we put it to use. But where it becomes overwhelming and is negatively affecting our functionality, then we need to pay attention to it, right? So how then do we deal with overwhelming fear? Number one is to find the root cause of the fear. And many times we don't know why we are afraid. And so I want to teach you quickly how to know the real cause of your fear is to pay attention to your most predominant thoughts. What have you been thinking about throughout the period? Will help you to know what is making you afraid. Because our emotions are born from our predominant thoughts. So what are your thoughts? Is it the news that you have been meditating over? Is it an event that happened last week or yesterday that you have been pondering on? That just may be where your fear is coming from. Because if you don't know a problem, then it will be difficult for you to solve it. So the first step is to know what is making me afraid. Why am I afraid? Why am I so fearful? So that you then know how to go about dealing with the fear. And many times fear occurs based on anxiety of a potential future danger. Many times the things we are afraid of have not even happened. It's in anticipation of trouble in the future that we begin to feel afraid. I usually give the example of hearing a loud sound and you're not even sure where the sound is coming from. The first thing we do is to run before we check. Sometimes it may be a busted tire. Sometimes it may just even be a kid playing with a plastic bag and then put pressure on the bag and the bag bursts and it sounds and then we run. So it's an apparent danger if you look at it in that sense. So many times the things you are afraid of have not even happened and may not happen. So you need to first check your thoughts to know what's making you afraid. Number two, you need to reframe the situation. And how do you reframe a situation? You ask yourself, what if the situation is not as bad as I think it is? What if it doesn't happen the way I think it will happen? Because sometimes things that we are afraid of don't actually happen. All right. So you need to ask yourself, if I'm going to get over this fear, I need to reframe my thinking. What if the situation isn't as bad as I think it is? What if it is going to work out all well in the end? Okay. So when you reframe the situation, then your thought begins to move from the negative to the positive, and you most likely will begin to feel a bit better. And thirdly, you need to seek information. We like to say in emotional intelligence that fear is the absence of knowledge. The more you know, the less likely that you'll be afraid. So when you're afraid of a situation, whether a potential danger, an exam, something about the future, go and research and find information that can help you combat that fear. So the more you know about how to deal with that situation, the less you will be afraid of it. Many of us didn't like mathematics growing up because we just had this fear about it. But my personal experience was the more you get into it, the less afraid you are. And the less afraid you are, the more confident you become. And the more you are able to deal with that particular problem. So seek more information about the situation, and this will help alleviate your fears. And finally, where fear persists, you may want to seek help. Some fear are as a result of some post-traumatic disorder that we had experienced in the past, and that one is somewhat beyond our ability, and so we may need a professional to help us deal with it. And that's where someone like myself come in. I'm a certified therapist, and I can help you in these areas to manage any similar situation that you may be going through. My name is John Asegu. I am Africa's leading emotional intelligence expert. This is where I end it for today. Until I see you next time, bye for now.